Hi everyone, I'm Ryan. Welcome back to my garage. I have some good news for you all. I have finally understood the comments. I have read the forums. I now understand why my oil leak was inevitable. It was caused by stupidity, but not necessarily mine. I think it was Honda's. Let me explain. So if you've been following my struggles to rebuild this Honda Superdream, you'll know last week the engine fired up, but there was a massive oil leak. And the oil leak was coming from approximately here on the barrels. I couldn't understand it and I thought I'd done something wrong. Last week I thought I just needed a gasket set. What I should have been doing is actually paying attention to the comments. And Frankenstein has been telling me for a while what the problem is. And I didn't understand what I was being told. I now understand my problem is these channels between these bolt holes and the cam chain. They're being intentionally built into this by Honda for absolutely no good reason whatsoever. And that's where my oil's leaking. It's coming up here, down this channel, up the bolt holes, and then out the hole that's in the top here, because that's just an open entrance. So the bolts should have some form of rubber sealant on them. Mine haven't got it. They never had it. I have no idea how this was sealed up before I had the bike. So my suggestion, I've got myself a good quality gasket set, Japanese made. That should be a good starting point. And in addition to that, I'm going to use this Loctite black silicone, which is specifically designed for use as a gasket where there's permanent oil contact. That, I think, will do the job. So I'm going to prepare this block up now and clean it up. I'm going to put some additional gasket just here in these channels, let it harden off, or at least cure slightly. Then I'm going to put the gasket on in the morning, then proceed with the rebuild. I'm going to get started now. So it's now the next morning. This has cured. So what I'm going to do now is start to fit the new gasket set. I've removed the rubbers from the base here. I'm going to open this and I'm going to start fitting them very carefully, making sure that I do everything as intended. So I've ran a very thin bead of sealant around the outer edges, being sure to put some in between the bolts. So I think those channels are now cleared. Now I'm going to apply the base gasket to this and then fit that to the bike. When I was about to put the gasket on, I realised there's intentional oil passages over here and over here. So I've removed any gasket from those areas just to make sure that I don't fill those passages, because that could cause me a problem. So I'm leaving the rest in place, but I'm not applying it on those outer edges. So with the head gasket in place, you can see there's definitely no sealant around this area or this area here, but those channels in there do appear to be firmly sealed up. So fingers crossed. And before I proceed to put the barrels in place, all the rings that I'd fitted previously are all nice and clear. They're free, they're easy to move, both sides, so they are not stuck. So I'm going to continue. Okay, so before I torque up these bolts here, the timing, I've got my T mark here in line, I've got my indent pointing directly upwards, and I've got the two little lines, one there, parallel with the case. So I think that is all mechanically timed up. So I'm going to torque these up now and then move on to the carriers. Okay, so that's all the head bolts in and all just done up with fingertips to make sure they're definitely not cross-threaded. They've all gone down okay. Now I'm going to start the torquing sequence, you know, starting in the middle, going out in the spiral and doing it to what the book says. So let's get these torqued down properly. Okay, all the bolts torqued down to 23 foot-pounds. Next thing, check the gap. So find the side that's not under compression, which is clearly the other side, and then check the gap with a feeler gauge and make sure everything's correct. So let me do that now. So I've checked all the valve gaps. They all seem in tolerance for me now. So before I go any further, I am going to just dribble a bit of oil, it's just a bit of engine oil, into each barrel. Squirt a little bit of engine oil into each, and then with the spark plugs out, I'm just going to make sure it rotates freely. A couple of revolutions. Make sure there's nothing binding. Good. So all the valves operating. Okay. Now I can see that the chain is loose still. And that's good. I'm glad I've checked because I haven't released the tensioner. And there's another bolt to go in here. So let me just do that now. 10 mil. Where's my 10 mil? The eternal cry of everyone working on the bike. Up the back. Loosen the bolt below. Loosen that. Make sure I'm taking the tension. Now there's tension. Good. Good. Make sure it's not tight. There's tension. I should remove it. next stage, I think, is we turn over on the motor, but with no plugs in it, just to try and build up some oil, just to fill the oil reservoirs, make sure that flows okay. Just touch it momentarily. All looks good. Oil flow. Well, whilst the battery's charging anyway, I'm going to try and get the carburetors fitted. So we bought these new rubbers, and let's see if I can get the carbs fitted on those, and then we can have a look at the angle that they're tilted at once they're in place. Well, that's the carburetors fitted on those rubbers. And I must say the angle of those looks far more neutral than it was before. It was quite kicked up before, so I think that looks better. I think those rubbers are going to work perfectly for me. So I've put the rocker cover on, mounted the carbs, no ignition, no fuel or anything yet. So I think, what am I going to do next? I think next I'm going to try and fit the exhausts. Change the exhaust the seals, gaskets, copper gaskets, because they were leaking. So let's try and get the exhausts on properly. And we're slowly moving towards a test fire. So I got these new copper sealing rings for the exhaust. Let's see if we can get them in place. Okay, so that's the old one, which was completely flat and knackered. And there's the round new one. So yeah, that might make a difference in sealing the exhaust up a bit. Okay, we have an exhaust fitted, and first time I've had it on the bike, and it's a nice big shiny thing. That's good, we like shiny things. Right, next, some ignition. Okay, so ignition's reconnected. Let's see if we get any spark. Yes, and come on. Yes, good. Spark both sides. Fuel? Yep, let's put some fuel in it. So I think next we will try opposite top dead centre, and just dropping a little bit of fuel into the barrel. Well, I guess now's about as good a time as any to see if it's going to do anything. There's some. So, choke a little, so I can see that's about half choke. Push it on. See if it does anything. Oil light was going out, so it's pressure, that's good. Choke's gone in. Pull the choke back. Choke moved. Let's hold that about there. second. We'll run again. I got faith in you. Battery's getting low. Let's keep the charge back in. Doing it. Some more power. Okay, let's try that now. This time with a bit more power. Yeah, let's just try it. let that warm up properly, and I'll turn it off. If it can start off its own battery now, and if it can, is the charger working? So at the moment, before I try and start it, it's at 13.25. Let's see if it will start. Charging. Excellent. Now I'm sure it will sound better and run better when it's got its airbox attached. That at the moment is filthy, and I've also got no idea how to actually fit it. It looks huge in respect to the frame. So I think first things first, give it a good clean up. Check the filters, and I was told I need to remove the rear wheel, so that might have to be something I start and finish another day. Well, I've managed to get it all apart. I think it's all usable. It seems salvageable as such. So there's the cover, the internals, and this bit that I've managed to get off as well. The screws are pretty shot. They're pretty rusted, so I'm going to need to replace those, I think. And I found this metal filter which slides in there somewhere. That's quite covered in surface rust. I don't know if it's going to clean up. I suspect not, but I'll give it a quick go and see what happens. Okay, so I think the airbox is cleaned up alright, but I need to work out now how to get it in there. So to get that airbox in that bike, I think it looks like I need to remove the battery, I need to remove the electrics, the rear wheel, maybe suspension, and then slide it in and then put those items back. So let's give that a try. So yeah, I've removed all the battery case, and all the rear wheel, obviously, and it still looks as though that will not fit through the suspension. So yeah, let's take the suspension off next. Okay, so that's all the suspension folded out the way. That looks to me like a big space now. Let's try. Finally managed to get the airbox all in and everything reconnected. So that was a nightmare of a job. I thought that would just slide in nice and easy. Oh no. Everything from the carburetors backwards has to come off to get that in. So when I come to the final build, because this is still a test, remember, airbox goes in before everything else. So that's in now. I've just got to reconnect the battery, and in theory she'll run again, but I might give that a go. But either way, that's as much as I can do tonight. It's getting late, I've been out here hours, and that'll do for now. Okay, battery's reconnected. See if we can give it a test fire. about to run out of fuel. That's okay. Still slightly concerned by that noise. I'm not sure about that yet. Although it's quieting down with the airbox on. I might check the tappets again. Sounds like it's coming from the valves. Okay. Cool, that'll do. Well, she's running and she starts easily. I never thought I'd say that. Well, that's me very much out of time for the week, so I'm happy with that. Engine's back together, oil leak seems to be sorted, and airbox is in place. So with that, I want to say a big thank you to the people who commented and helped me. Without your guidance and help, I wouldn't have got to where I've got to so far. So thank you very much for that. Please like, subscribe, tell anyone you know who might like this type of project, and thank you very much. See you next week.